intended to write it up here both days. I'll do that on Tuesday, but by Thursday, you should know what it is. However, we didn't talk about this journal entry last time. We just, we were doing all that other stuff. So this is by Octavia E. Butler, again, another professional writer. And she says you don't start out writing good stuff. You start out writing crap and thinking it's good stuff, and then gradually you get better at it. That's why I say, Octavia says, one of the most valuable traits is perseverance. What does perseverance mean? What does she mean when she says one of the most valuable traits is perseverance? Two words there, traits and perseverance. What does she mean by that last sentence? A couple of people have already answered this one. And those who, Araceli, did you write something? Was it you that wrote something on this? Somebody answered that. Who can tell me what?
Would you like to keep it together, maybe?
What?
To keep it together? Or stay on the...
Were you the one who, yeah, you were, and that's why I thought we should go over it, because you had a question about what you thought she meant by perseverance, okay? It actually means, that was a good guess, and that was a good answer. But perseverance actually means sticking with it. If you persevere at something, it means you keep doing it no matter what. Yeah, and a trait is a habit or something. Okay? So everybody's clear on what that means so that you can get in there and write about it. Now, does Octavia Butler use fully standard English? No, she does use some non-standard words, but for her purpose, Andrew, for her purpose here, she's trying to make a strong point. So for her purpose, she's using those words to get people's attention, right? Does that make sense? So she's not going to pin that into that's her own personal writing. Okay, so I am still working with having the journals online, as I know you guys are too. And what I've been doing is, at this point, because I've looked at all the entries that are in there, I think there were just one or two that I wrote a note on today. What I'm basically looking at is when I pull it up, when I click on there, you guys can do it, I click on there and see the journal entries. I'm looking at who those two people are that have done it. And then there's a whole lot of people who haven't for number 4. But on number 1, it's like the other way around. It's like, I think there are 4 people who hadn't done number 1. And so I'm just basically at this point, I'm looking at those names. And what I'm doing is I am sending people email because this doesn't have a deadline on it. So unlike some of the other online stuff, it doesn't tell you, it doesn't pop up and say, you haven't done this and you were supposed to. So what I'm doing is I looked at all of them, and there are a handful of people who have not done any journal entries yet. And there are a handful of people who've only done 1. So what I'm doing, just to make sure that you are aware of that, I sent you an email through NPC Online, and then I not only did that, but I printed that email out and gave it to you with the stuff that I give back. So just so you know, that's what. But the thing is, the way that works, it doesn't. It looks like the email because I sent a copy to myself. So that's what I'm printing out. So if you look at it, it says, you know, well, this email, I didn't get this email, it went from this point. But actually, it did go to you too, okay? So I'm just kind of a double check in case you're not getting those emails yet with the Heinlein journal, okay? Okay, so stay caught up with those, especially people who did not get a passing journal check grade on that last, on that grade report. Okay, and I think, let's see. Okay, so we'll see if these other people come in. Okay, so today we need to do a grammar review. So the way I'm doing this grammar is totally separate from the English Center. I think the English Center is, oh, this is so many things you have to turn on. The English Center, up until now, it looks like the English Center stuff we've been doing has kind of tied in with what we've been talking about here, paragraphs, essay format, and that kind of thing. But after this, it's going to diverge, okay? What I've tried to do is with the grammar lessons that so today we have a grammar review. The grammar lessons I'm doing in here, that subject and verb one, I don't see that on their list this semester. So it's one of the reasons I did that in here, the matching subjects and verbs, so that we can talk about that. Some of the other stuff you do have, I think the next, the next set will be shifts in tense, shifts in person, and antecedents. I think they do have it in there, but you won't be working along, it's not at the same time that I did. So you're getting double grammar, okay? So just so you kind of see what the pattern is. So today, we have to review the 3 grammar lessons that we've already covered. Who can tell me what the 3 grammar lessons were that we've already done? What was the first one we did? Do you remember what the first grammar lesson we did? Okay, standard English was the first, right? And what was the second one?
Spelling.
Okay, spelling, good. And the one you just got back? Yeah, so that should be fresh in your mind. And these are, you know, this is how English teachers abbreviate it. Sometimes you see if you get a pink sheet back from me and it says in the little box there, what do you need help with? Sometimes it's like a shorthand. Sometimes the English teachers speaking to each other, because I'm writing that to the, to the tutor down there. She understands what that means, okay? And you guys know now that it means subject, that's a J, verb agreement. The subject must agree with the verbs. Okay, so what I've done on this is, I admit this is a little pokey, and I have to admit to you guys, when I changed these grammar lessons, I pulled up some old lessons I had. That's why I did change that one. And this one is really hokey. So don't think that this is being presented to you as good writing necessarily. But what I did was just visually even, I tried to, this looks a little bit different. So, and these are what the reviews will look like. Rather than have just another set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to where you know there's going to be a mistake in each question, right? I put these into little paragraphs, and like I say, these aren't great paragraphs. It's kind of hard to write a paragraph where you're purposely putting in a bunch of non-standard English. You have to think up things to say where you can fit in these non-standard words. So luckily for you this first time, what this is going to do is the words you have to worry about are underlined. This is the only time I'm going to do this. After this, I'm going to let you guys do it yourself. So you have to, so that's helpful. You have to look and say, okay, I have to translate this into standard English. And like I said, some of my slang may be a little bit dated. That's one of the reasons I asked you guys to write that slang sentence so I can get some ideas about current slang. These, you'll be glad to know, the spelling errors are underlined, so you can tell which don't change. In other words, don't make any other changes. A lot of people try to do things like take the apostrophe out and that kind of thing. Remember, this is what you're looking for. So you're editing this paragraph for standard English, this paragraph for spelling, and this paragraph for subject-verb agreement. Okay? So just to remind you what's going on up here, we're looking for standard English versus what I call informal spoken English. Okay, and do your best to edit. Pretend like you're editing one of your, one of your classmates' papers. Okay. Second one, obviously, we're going to be sure all spelling is correct. Now, because that requires at some times a dictionary, some of you will just be able to do this. And what's wrong with this word? What do you need to spell that correct?
Lowercase.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that's what I call the pronunciation error. We don't say, when we say, in February I did this, we don't speak it the way it's spelled. If we did, we'd have to say what? February. There's another R in there, okay? So these are just, there's no way to give another spelling test that builds on what we did without giving you the same words again. Some of these are, but just kind of more words that you have to watch for. So on this one, because of the nature of that, I do say you may use a cell phone dictionary for the first two parts only. So you could use it for this if that'll help you, and you can use it for this if you think that'll help. Okay? But I think a lot of them are like so commonly misspelled that you should say, oh yeah, I know. Because most of us are pretty aware of that because we've been told that so many times. It's Feb and brew, there's an R between the B and the U, even though that's not what. Okay, then on the subject-verb agreement. So these two are pretty straightforward with the errors that you're correcting. Correct the standard English, which is called to your attention, and correct the spelling, which is called to your attention. On this one, I'm not showing it to you yet because I want to explain it to you. What I'm asking you to do is exactly this. Be sure all verbs agree with their subjects in person and number. Okay, so what I've done here is I've written a little paragraph. In fact, I took this out of something on the internet. And I have underlined all the verbs. But in this one, some of the verbs may be correct. Okay? So what it says here is consider, but do not necessarily edit each of these verbs. So this one's a little bit different. Here you pretty much have to respell any word that's underlined. Those are all wrong. But in this one, I'm asking you to think about all the stuff we talked about, okay? An army of feral cats rule Aoshima Island in southern Japan. Did anybody see this story? I think it was on the NPR or something on the web the other day. There's this island up there where people had been getting these cats to help get the mice off the fishing boats. And the cats have just multiplied to the point that it's like 10 times as many cats on the island now as there is people. So, but what you're thinking here is, does this verb to rule agree with the subject? It looks like it does, right? But what's the actual subject of this sentence? It's army. Okay, remember what we said about collective nouns? What is army? Is it singular or plural? It's singular, it's an it. So this has to be rules. Okay, so again, I'll draw this little thing up here just really quick, if it helps you, to just remember that you are looking for to, in your head, and like I said, we don't have to spend too much time doing it, you're conjugating that verb. I rule, you rule, he, she, or it rules. So the army is a third person singular, right? So this one you're gonna have to think about. Read each sentence, think about what is the subject. Cats, and this is, this is kind of hard to get your head around, because the cats are the ones doing the ruling, but the way this sentence is written, it's army, that's the subject. You also have to watch out for some of these indefinite pronouns. Remember the things. Let me write up here, let me see if I can find the ones that are in there. Oh, I think there's only one. There's only one indefinite pronouns. I'll just write it down here for you. Remember, indefinite pronouns are usually treated as singular, so I'm putting them in the box. Okay, so, yeah, and this one I did right. That's the one on there. This one I didn't right. Okay, so this is a little bit different from doing this and then going for a break. Go ahead and do this, and then when you're done, bring it up here. And if you didn't finish your homework, which I see a number of people have it out frantically working on it, get that